Hello, Matthew Williams here with a video to talk about Claire Perry, my local MP. I actually voted for Claire, and I wish I hadn't now, because she doesn't represent the views of me or the constituents of Devizes, I believe, pretty much at all. She won with a very narrow margin of 55%, which to me means that, you know, with 45% of people voting against you, voting in other directions, that she would have a little bit of humility in how she deals with the constituency of Devizes, which she claims to be representing, and I use the word claims very widely here, that she would actually kind of be doing a little bit more to kind of represent people's views. But I did a little bit of research, and this is, you know, minor research here, but I came up with some startling, interesting facts, some of which I've actually put to Claire Perry over a telephone. I'll come back to that now, because Claire didn't really want to speak to me in person. I don't know quite what the reason was, but you know, she was too busy. Anyway, we'll come back to that in a minute. But Claire, I'm going to not swear as well in this video, because unlike me, normally in my videos there's a lot of swearing, but in this one, because I may get it seen by some people who, you know, don't like that sort of thing, so I'm going to be very, very polite today, and it just proves that I can do it if I want to. So anyway, Claire, I contacted her because she is a pro-fracking supporter. And I thought, well, that's not on, you know, because fracking is and has been proven in not only the United States but also in Australia to be very dirty and a risk to health, that it pollutes the water table. But Claire says, you know, in line with party policy for the Conservatives, that fracking is perfectly fine, and that British scientists have all said it's all tickety-boo and wonderful, and it'll be very different and highly regulated, and, you know, like as if it hasn't been all highly regulated in the United States, but it just leaks, and in Australia, and it just leaks. So the point is that Claire seems to be under some sort of belief that, you know, because it's being done in the UK, that somehow, you know, the British scientists are going to wave a magic wand over the whole thing, and suddenly it's not going to leak and it's not going to pollute the water table, you know, that this is all going to be magic. But what we have to do, you see, is not use America's examples of how it went wrong, and not use Australia's examples of how it went wrong. We must try it ourselves in order to prove that it works and goes wrong. Oh well, sorry about that, but we made a quick buck, and anyway, we're not going to turn back now, are we? That's Claire's attitude, on my interpretation of where it's going to lead. But yeah, basically I found out a few interesting things about Claire, and thought I'd share them with you, including how unpopular she seems to be. You know, for an MP who's got a Facebook site, I'll just bring it up for you now, and let's have a little look. Claire Perry, she's got 102 people like her. Okay, and this has been up for a couple of years now on you know, it's been up a few years on Facebook, and she's got 102 people like her. Is this a possible representation of the fact that you know, Conservatives in the Devizes constituency don't use Facebook, or don't, you know, have any interest in what she's got to say? She's got another page, which is the one she actually looks after herself, and this is Claire Perry MP. Now, she's really busy on this page. It's amazing, you know, because I mean, she's far more busy on this page than probably anyone I've seen on Facebook. I mean, she's incredibly busy. She puts loads and loads of stuff into this page. You know, she commented between 7 hours today, even, you know, 7 hours ago and 13 hours ago. But for somebody who's been running a page since, as you can see up here, 2014, okay, she's only got, as you can see on the left hand side, 149 likes. And I thought, well, that's not a lot, is it? So, you know, 149 likes for an MP, surely she's got some more following than this. So I thought, well, I'd just check up on some of the competition. So if we take another MP, James Gray, which I believe is North Wiltshire, now he has got, and he's been running since 2010. Okay, now he's got 323 likes. So he's more than double the popularity of Claire. But I mean, 323 likes, this is not a lot of people liking what these people are talking about. Now, if we go and have a look at UKIP, right, because Claire's very vocal about not liking UKIP, and she's always putting little snidey comments in on her Facebook page. Go and see it, they're there to be seen. That basically, if we take individual areas like Mid Sussex, Eastleigh, North East, Hartlepool, I mean, just, one of these places like Eastleigh has 3,007, Hartlepool, 1,353, okay, Gateshead, 1,132, so it just seems to me like everyone else has a lot more likes, than Claire. So having a look at what Claire's got on her page, let's see whether or not, what Claire's talking about, whether or not it's very exciting, very interesting, very relevant. She says, I'm really pleased to be supporting Councillor Cook in his efforts to improve the Vodafone service in Marlborough. That's 7 hours ago. Okay, so it hasn't been on there very long, but there's no likes and there's no comments. Okay, so then we look back 13 hours. She talks about her own column in the Gazette and Herald, which, many people probably aren't that interested in, like they're not interested in her Facebook page. But no comments, no likes. But that's only 13 hours ago. You see, we have to go back a bit further, don't we, to be fair, and look at this, objectively. Are people reading her Facebook? Are they interested in what she's up to? So let's speed down. And as we speed down, just take a little look whether or not there's any comments, which will be up here, or any likes. Okay, so we're going back to 4th of February, which is 2 days ago. Nobody's liked her comment about the Labour. Check this out. She says, this is Claire Perry, Labour on a 3-line red tie whip today. Okay, shame they can't be organised with policies. #chaos, i.e. that's a Twitter thing, #chaos. So anyway, let's reread this, okay? Because it takes a little, screwing up the eyes to actually be able to read this. Labour on a 3-line red tie whip today. Shame they can't be that organised with policies. Ha ha, little dig, eh, Claire? But what's she digging about? Claire, do you speak English? Or perhaps, Claire, do you speak normal, middle class and lower class human language? Or do you only speak upper class? Or do you only speak parliamentarianese? Because if this is a Facebook page for people that might be interested in what you actually think about, they'd have to know what was going on the 4th of February, and they would have to know what the subject matter was about. So when you say something like Labour on a 3-line red tie whip today, right? What's 3 lines mean? What does 3 lines mean? Why does a red tie mean anything? What does the significance of a red tie and red tie whip? I've heard this term used in politics, like to keep people in line, a whip. So Labour were on a 3-line, whatever this 3-line means, red tie, whip today. And what were they doing this for, Claire? What was this about, Claire? Why would you bother to tell us something that you don't explain? Yes? So she's not speaking very good English here, but she's got no comments, not even any comments from people saying, do you speak English? I was tempted to swear at the end of that. Do you speak English? Da da da, which is from a movie. I think it's from Full Metal Jacket. Da da da. But anyway, right. Claire goes on to tell us, now this is where Claire gets whimsical and, just telling us about her everyday activities, which just shows you just how much stuff she does put on her page. But she says, flu equals no fun. This is the 30th of January. And there we are. See, she's trying to appeal to the human heart of people out there that are suffering themselves from the flu, as I did. I had the flu, and it is, Claire, it's no fun. Having the flu is no fun at all. Nobody liked that. Nobody clicked like. This is the 30th of January, so we're talking over a month ago. Not one person has clicked like, not one comment. Okay? And that's when she says, I'm feeling ill, and it's not very nice, and I'm feeling ill. Nobody even cares. Okay? So, she's talking about a Gazette and Herald column again, right? She's got one like on this. Let's have a look who the like is from. So you click that. Rachel Arnold liked it. Okay, well, you one person, right? Talking about your column in Gazette and Herald. I don't know what the readership of the Gazette and Herald is, but let's have a look, see if we can work that out. So this will give us an idea of whether or not people are actually bothering to read her article and wanting to respond. So Gazette and Herald readership. What have we got there? Media pack. This tells you, there we are, readership is 70,000 people, it says up here, look. Readership 70,000 people, distribution ABC 25,237. So what they mean is they sell 25,000 editions, but more than one person will read an edition because it'll be left on a table and your family will read it and in libraries and whatever. So they estimate that out of 25,000 copies sold, that 70,000 people will read it, and 70,000 people know about Claire Perry, and only one of them, bothers to like her article on her Facebook page. This kind of tells me that, Claire doesn't have her finger on the pulse of whether or not people actually like her on Facebook, because she's churning out comments and people are not really responding. Now here we are. She tries a different tack. She was on the radio on Spire FM, which is Salisbury in Wiltshire. That's their radio station, Spire FM. And there was an amazing piece of news about 900 new army homes on the Salisbury Plain. Okay, now that's something that strikes right at the heart of the army community, and Claire is right behind the military, which bores me and pisses me off. She's a military lover. So there we are. You'd think the army would come in on this, listening to the radio station, Spire FM, round Salisbury, and they would get in it. How many comments she got? She's actually got one comment. Oh, it's from Matthew Williams. Matthew Williams commented, "Pity we can't see massive house developments for the poor around Devizes." That's what I've said, you see. I've put that on there. I'm fully expecting that to get deleted, actually, because I want to see whether Claire deletes these things. So anyway, nobody's like that. So really popular. Everybody, it's like, I'm just thinking like Spire FM is on and it's like, and now we have Claire Perry on talking about 900 army homes on Salisbury Plain, and it's like, yes, here I am, and it's like, oh, can I change channel please, give me some music please, I don't listen to this bloody Claire Perry. I'm just, that's what I'm thinking, this is my thoughts, okay? So, here she is having a dig at Labour. Labour wants us to believe that outsourcing, NHS provisions, look, statistics, which everybody knows can be buggered around with. So statistics, right. So even having a dig at Labour, you'd think you'd get some staunch Conservatives going, yeah, go Claire, go Claire. Yeah, you tell them, those Labour types, you tell them, Claire. No likes, no comments. Let's skip forward. Come on, I'm not even going to read them now, look, right? I mean, if you want to read them, pause this video. You can read these things or go to our Facebook page. But, comments from 29th of January, 28th, every day, 28th, nothing. No likes, no comments, pictures, which don't seem to, I don't even know who these people are. Yeah, no likes, no comments. 27th of January. Oh, hang on. Some people have commented here. Today's performance summit with South East Railway was a tough session. Right? She's got one like, which is from Hazel Wright, and she's got a comment from Elizabeth Darkins, which says, "Why was Southern not there? I've had a stress delay-free journey. I've not had a stress delay-free journey in 2015." So, one comment. Okay, so skipping on. She's had 1 like. Harry Forbes likes her thing about Al Murray, the pub landlord, is standing against Nigel Farage. Okay, she's had 1 there. Right, skipping forward. Ooh, she's had 29 comments on one. God, I didn't even think she'd had any comments like this. I mean, let's have a look. What so, 27 comments on one of her posts and 1 like with 29 comments. Let's have a look at all of them just to see what we're dealing with here. So, Andrew Down has commented, John Dennehy, Noel Kennedy twice, Andrew Down again, so he's responding, they're both doubling up. Andrew Down, Helen Tierney, Martin Swanson, Andrew Down again. You know, they're all chatting amongst themselves. Andrew Down, Steve Trigg, Chris Tunner, Andrew Down, you know, Steve Mellis twice. So there's a lot of people kind of repeating. So, you know, maybe let's say halve it. So she's had about 13 comments on that. Here we are. Look, Claire Perry doing a charity bag for the Prospice Hospice today. Come along for this fantastic cause, it says, and it's being held at Tesco somewhere. She doesn't even bother to tell you. Look, Devises Team Perry are doing a charity bag for Prospect Hospice today until 6. Come along and help this fantastic cause. Where is it, Claire? Where are you supposed to go? I mean, you know, talk about she doesn't speak lower class or middle class English. Yeah, she doesn't even tell you where you have to be to help this cause. Okay, now she's only got 2 likes, right? Bear in mind, there are 4 people in this photo who are holding charity buckets, and they're wearing T-shirts saying Team Perry. Team Perry. Now, you'd think she'd have 4 likes then from all of the 4 people in this photograph, yeah? You'd think she'd have at least 4 likes and maybe some comments from these people, right? She's got 2 likes. Okay, 2 people like this, Harry Forbes and Val Compton, right? And she's got 3 comments actually. And she, Mandy Humphrey says, surely it would have been better to have Team Prospects than advertise Claire Perry or the Tories. It should have been about the charity. So actually, there's a negative comment, yeah, on her page. And then Di Miles says, yeah, so she agrees. And then Lynn Thomas, I just hope you will let the Welsh flag. You will let the Welsh flag on licences. I'm not English and I just don't want the Union Jack as part of my identity. Thank you. So basically these are all people who are like kind of anti-comments on her Facebook. They're not very pro. Okay, so Claire, you know, she's got 2 likes on this one and 4 comments. 1 like. So let's have a look at the likes. 2 people like this. Yeah, there we are. Let's have a look at the likes on the next one. I'm just going to do the likes now. Richard Gamble likes this. Okay, now Richard Gamble, I noticed he's in this a lot. He's the only person who seems to like a lot of this stuff further down. 3 people like this, yeah, you know. Basically, she's got no likes on any of this stuff, no comments, no likes. Okay, no likes, no comments, no likes, no comments. Hang on. Sorry, 3 comments on that one. There you go. Oh, she's actually responded as well. Look, she's actually bothered to respond to somebody that's put a comment, and she says you can email me at Claire Perry at, you know, her official address, and she'll give you a response. Okay, right, Claire Perry. And that's interesting, isn't it? Because there you go. Right, the only time she replies to somebody is she says, this guy says. Let's read what he's got to say because it might be interesting. Oh, and you get mentioned again in the local press. Will you accept the challenge, brackets, once you figure out where Reigate and Redhill are? So I think he's taking the piss out of her there. Excuse me, language. Suggesting that she doesn't actually know where Reigate and Redhill are. To come stand shoulder to shoulder, literally in most cases, with us suffering Surrey commuters on a dreadful and overpriced railway service. Overpriced railway service? Claire says that she's pro sorting out the railways and sorting out on her leaflet. I'll come back to this now. She says protected train services. She wants to protect the train services. I'll read it to you. Fast train links from our local stations are vital for our local economy. Before becoming a transport minister this year, she's a minister for transport, right? She's a minister for transport, yeah. I was pleased to get the economic case for rail electrification to the constituency recognised, and additional parking, new shelters and a ticket machine at the Bedwin station. Wow. Right. This is the important bit, I will continue to do all I can to protect the services from Pewsey and Bedwin, working of course within the ministerial rules. Right. Well, let me tell you this, right? If she's putting out a leaflet which she's been posting through people's doors, and I'm going to rip this to shreds in a bit, not literally, but with my debate on it, but basically this comes through your door, okay, this little fold-up leaflet which is from Claire, and it's got several points on you that she wants to make, but one of the several points is this train stuff, yeah, and she makes it sound like, oh, if you vote for me, Claire Perry, I'm really interested in train services, like, vote for me, Claire Perry. Do you know what? 800 votes she voted on in her time in office, in the 5 years she's been in office. 800. Do you know how many times she voted against the Conservatives out of 800 votes? That's her own party. How many times she used her own conscience to say, this is the way we should go? Yeah? Twice. Just twice out of 800, right? Guess what one of the things I remember seeing, because I looked at all the votes she'd voted on just to get a general idea of what she was into and what she wasn't into, and it said that she voted against a potential freeze or scheme to lower rail prices, right? And she voted against it, yeah, in line with the Conservative policies, because it's one of those things that she was just towing the party line and voting, in exactly the way the Conservatives wanted it to. Okay, but she voted not to do things that will help people access the rail services, i.e. to keep the prices down, yeah, and possibly restrict and cap the maximum prices. She voted against that. So what she wants is higher prices, yeah? That's what Claire Perry wants. She wants the rail companies to be profiteering, basically, because otherwise, surely she would have voted the other way. But she's Conservative. So, anyway, bottom line is, let's scroll down. So I thought I'd just bring that up. Oh, but the important point is here, you see, he has made a point and he has made a link to the Surrey Mirror, okay? And Claire Perry has not replied on Facebook. Very important this, you see. Claire has said, email me and I'll send you an official response. And she will. She'll send it to you, because I've got some of them bloody here from her, which is just like, singing from the bloody hymn sheet, like, Claire Perry. Oops. So I'll blank that out. Anyway, dear Mr. Williams, blah, 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 blah. Thank you about talking about the transatlantic trade and investment partnership, right? I've written to her about fracking. I've written to her about loads of stuff. I've had lots of responses from her, and that's all it is cut and pasted, yeah, with maybe just a very small bit at the end, which usually sort of says, and don't call me stupid, or something like that, yeah, which is me sort of like saying you've got to be insane to be thinking the way you are, Claire. And usually stuff like that, and she usually sort of like, she just spends one line at the bottom to kind of rebuff me, like, so she knows me, she kind of knows my name, I would imagine, because there probably aren't many people who are as cheeky as I am with her, but so you get something on Houses of Commons, the common people. So she's supposed to be representing the common people, you see, because House of Commons, that's what it means, you see. House of Lords is for the posh guys, who get to hereditary peers, for those people around the world that don't know. They're the people who don't actually get voted in. They're kind of like our fascist elite, that kind of, get to be there because they're special. So, and they get to vote on stuff, and they can veto and, throw things out if they want to. But the commoners, you see, this is where the commoners try to get things changed for, the 99% of us, which Claire, says she represents because she's an MP for the House of Commons. But then, when she only just scrapes in with this 55% vote and 45% of her constituency actually voting in a different direction, you'd think that out of 800 votes, there would be some representation of what she actually does for her constituents. But there's nothing. Right? The other 45% can go and do this, as far as Claire is concerned. And I apologise if some people find that offensive. Maybe I'll do the Winston Churchill. Right? This is what Claire Perry thinks about you if you've got different ideas about what should be going on in devices and whether fracking is bad and the transatlantic trade investment partnership, whether you think things like that are bad. This is what Claire does. She does a Winston Churchill. She goes, I'm conservative, I follow the party line, I'm sorry, but you will do what we say. I am Claire Perry. Yeah, Winston Churchill style. Victory to the fascists. I am Claire Perry. And so is Claire Perry a woman of the people? I mean, is she, because she doesn't seem to be connecting with people on a level whereby, to tell this guy, I'm not going to respond to you on Facebook, I'm going to respond to you officially, means that she doesn't want anyone else seeing her response. So that way, it kind of, she shields herself from any criticism and any flare-up that might actually happen on Facebook, because people realise you can get a response out of her on Facebook, you see. So she's a little bit careful with this, I think, She likes to put her little tweety type, oh, today I was at the Houses of Commons, and oh, today I was down the shops, and today I wrote a newspaper article, and today I was on the radio. And then if anybody bothers to comment, stonewall. Or you can write to her via this address, and she might tell you her real feelings, but then nobody else will get to find out about them. And this is the problem, you see, because Claire doesn't want people knowing, unless you ask the question, unless you ask her directly, she doesn't want people knowing that she's actually pro-fox hunting. Yeah. And when I asked her this on the telephone, right, and we'll come back to this telephone conversation, she said, "Oh, yes, well, I am into hunting, but you do have to realise that even a person who works for one of the environmental organisations, even he said that with fox hunting out of the way, the ban, you see, that the what has come afterwards, with the way they kill foxes now, is so much more inhumane." What she didn't tell you is that, yes, if you poison foxes and if you trap foxes with wire traps that trap their legs so that they end up having to chew their arms off, to get out of the trap, or they just die because of stress and blood loss because of the way the traps actually will dig into the skin. If you kill foxes like that, yes, environmental concern charities and people like Greenpeace, Friends of the Earth, and the animal organisations will all turn around and say, that is terrible. That is even worse than the quick death of hunt. Yes, they would say that, but what you don't go on to say, Claire, is that the next logical sentence is, so we shouldn't use poisoning, and we shouldn't use gin traps and wire traps. We should be using shooting. You see, not hunting with dogs and ripping them apart, which is bad, along with poisoning and gin traps, you see. But you're clever, Claire, because you say, oh, even the environmentalists say that it is bad, Finish the sentence, Claire. You can't just cherry pick information like that to make it look good for you, okay? We're not that stupid, Claire. The trouble is, with this phone call I had with Claire Perry, I said, I wanted to come to meet her at her surgery, and what a surgery means for anybody who doesn't know, is a meeting at a designated place, either the offices or at various locations around the constituency so that people don't have to travel too far. She was doing a surgery in Pewsey, and there were lots of people booked in for that morning to come, but she said for reasons which weren't explained, parliamentary reasons, she had to cancel, and basically could she do it over the phone? And I said, well, I'd rather meet her in person, but I was told by her secretary, Tamara Ray, I believe her name is, that she was just very, very busy, and all this. And Tamara wanted to know what questions I was going to ask Claire in advance, which is like, okay, so she wants to prepare so that, kind of bombard me, try and push me down. So I have to give her the questions in advance, but fair enough, because I don't want to make her feel like she's on the spot. But so I give the advanced questions, and then when I ask her about these things, I ask a very small question, and I just get in like the party political broadcast. You know, for the entire 15 minutes, it's Claire. Conservatives are great. Scientists are great. Evidence against fracking is not real. It's all science says it's wonderful. It's great. You know, and it's kind of like, it's really hard to get a word in edgeways with Claire. And, you know, she always kind of tries to, you know, like, no, I am much more intelligent. You know, it's this way. And no. She's kind of got her answers prepared, and very hard to get a word in edgeways, which is kind of why I'm doing this video, just to kind of tell you that, you know, you've got your ideas, Claire, but I've got my ideas too. And, you know, three monkeys, yeah? I've got my ideas too, and it's the three monkeys, and I'll put it up on the screen now. And basically, you know, when I'm talking about fracking being dangerous for people's health, it is dangerous for people's health. A report was put out on the day of the vote, which actually went in favour of allowing fracking. For some reason, Labour, on that day of the vote, didn't vote, because if they had voted, it could have been thrown out. Fracking in the United Kingdom could have been thrown out, and Labour decided not to vote. Now, I don't think much has been said about that in the press. Why did Labour not vote? You see, why did Labour not vote in that? So if Labour gets in, you know, this year, then Labour are going to be pro-fracking, because they've obviously shown that they are, because they abstained from the vote so that the fracking would get through. So it's like, you know, both major parties, you know, apart from UKIP, which is probably, and I'm hoping, going to overtake them and show them that they can just go and jump in a lake. You know, they are all pro-fracking. So anyway, this conversation with Claire Perry, basically I was browbeat over the top by Claire, you know, only wanting to tell me her point of view, which was Conservative Party policy. And I said to her, is it possible for you to vote against fracking? And she said to me something which I'm still really struggling with, because I can't understand why this has to be this way. But she said, I couldn't vote against fracking because that would be against my party policy. And if I voted against my party policy, then I would have to resign my seat. Why would you have to resign your seat? Because you object to a specific thing. Yeah? Is that because you would be asked to resign or forced to resign? Or that you would feel that because you have a difference of opinion on one subject alone, that you wouldn't be able to vote against it? No, I think this is absolute evidence, and we hear this from people time and time again about Claire Perry, is that Claire only does what is good for Claire, the Conservatives, and her career. Okay? And you can mix the order on that one. But Claire is in £100,000 plus job a year. And we are talking, there are extra benefits involved with this, like travel expenses, you know, home relocation, home help, you know, expenses. There is also, I believe, the ability to have a second home provided to you in London so that you can stay somewhere close to Parliament. So, I mean, you know, there's all sorts of benefits to this. And Claire, you know, actually talking about homes, okay, and this is kind of funny. Claire talking about homes, she's the very first thing, right, before priority one, the very first thing she says is about herself. So Claire says, it's a huge privilege to be your MP and represent you in Westminster. Well, as I've said, 2 votes out of 800 that voted against her party. She told me herself that those 2 votes were probably when she was a backbencher and she was free to vote. But then once she started getting a position as like transport minister and all these other jobs that she's held, then she couldn't then vote any other way because she was, she was basically inhibited or prevented from voting any other way. So she doesn't represent us in Westminster. She does not represent us in Westminster. She represents the Conservative Party in Westminster. We don't count. okay? Because they're more important, and she's got a big job, right? Now, this is very important as well. I live in the heart of Pewsey Vale with my 3 children and our dog. You ain't getting a sympathy vote off me just because you got a dog. You know, lots of people got dogs, okay? So, you know, she lives in the heart of Pewsey Vale. Now, she's quick to tell you this. It's the first thing she wants you to know is she lives in the area. Excuse me, let's have a look at the... let's type in Claire Perry, divorce. Okay, because Claire got divorced. Okay, here we are. Claire Perry, the Conservative MP, has separated from her husband in 2013. Right, so it's 2015 now. So for the best part of 3 years, she was living in Salisbury. She didn't even live in Devizes or the constituency. She didn't even live in, you know, the area. She lived in Salisbury, right? Okay? She's never, to my knowledge, lived in Devizes. She's never lived in the constituency area, right? And yet she is the MP for this area, right? But then she has this divorce, which, you know, sad as it may be, or great, whatever's good for her. She has a settlement from her husband of £1.5 million of a house, right? So she moves to the area and buys herself a £1.5 million house. Do you think, therefore, that Claire Perry comes into the category of a lower class, middle class, or maybe an upper class person? Okay? Is she representing the lower class people, the middle class people, or the upper class people? I ask you. She's got £1.5 million house, and she's on £100,000 per year job, which means over the last 5 years she's earned £500,000. And if she gets in again, right, over 10 years, she'll have earned £1 million in her job, right? Do you think she is lower class, middle class, or upper class by the types of earnings she seems to want to give herself? She says that she went to Bray something, Oxford University, and this Oxford University place that she went to, Braymore or something like that, I think it's called, is basically where all the toffee-nosed snobs of politics have gone through, and then suddenly they appear in politics, and suddenly they rise to the top. It's almost like, you know, secret societies in a respect, because it's kind of like you join one, you're always in a good job, you got your mates around you, and they'll never say bad about you. You'll always be supported. They'll always run to your aid, even when you're wrong, even when you're breaking the law, even when you're just about to go down. They'll still defend you, yeah? Because it's like that sort of club. So at this college that she says that she attended, she became friends with David Cameron. and suddenly when she leaves college, she starts working for MPs. And they start grooming and teaching her the way to do it, you know. And then suddenly she puts herself up for an MP. And hey presto, when she becomes an MP, she doesn't just stay as a backbencher. She suddenly moved to the front benches, and she becomes a transport minister, and she becomes a whip, and she gets all these high-grade jobs, yeah, which pay more money and put her in a position whereby she's going to be in that little clique and network. Of course she's not going to vote against her little buddies. This is a career job. She's a career politician. Look up the term career politician on Google and see what it means. It means somebody who is in the job not for their constituents, not to benefit the locals, right? That's all just a front, okay? That's just a front. Say whatever you need to say in order to get people to think, oh, she sounds okay. She's going to be really good. She is, yeah? Do all that just to get the votes. Once you're in, turn your back on people and say, sorry, can't vote that way for you. We can't vote that way. I'm sorry. We're going to tell you what you're going to do. We're going to tell you how you're going to live now. And I'm okay because I've got this nice big job, 100 grand. I'm on TV, I'm on the radio, and I'm going to just eulogise, la the Conservatives, like that all day long, like as if she doesn't have her own brain, she doesn't have her own thoughts, she doesn't have her own ideas, she can't work outside the box because the box confines her. She is now a Conservative robot. So even if she does have ideas, she'll never express them. Yeah, if she did have a feeling or an outpouring of emotion towards a certain type of policy or something like that, she's not going to do anything about it because she will fall in line behind the Conservatives. Now, this is the type of person you've got running for Devizes, and I mean, what I take exception with is her saying, up here, I live in the Vale. She's never lived in Devizes. She doesn't have anything to do with this constituency. She doesn't have anything to do. She knows more about Salisbury than she does about Devizes in this area. Yeah, but she was put in here. She was put in here as a safe Conservative seat to get her in, to crowbar her in. And once she's in, whoomph, straight to the top. 100 grand a year, safe position. Say what we tell you to say, and you'll get on. And I think that is bullshit. It's called crony politics, cronyism. Get your mates in, get your friends in, all back each other up. Don't speak badly about each other, and you'll get on, and you're going to get a bit of money. Yeah? Disgusting, I think it is. And, she says under priority 3, superfast broadband. Yeah? That is an initiative from central government, right, down through the councils. Doesn't have anything to do with you, my dear. This is a central government policy. You're putting this down like, if you vote for Claire Perry, she's doing this for you. Yeah, she might have had a little bit of input into local health services. Yeah, and she says healthy high streets. Healthy high streets. She's photographed here outside. That looks like Netherhaven or Uphaven, right? Uphaven shop. It doesn't even tell you where it is. Look, yeah, it doesn't even tell you where the shop is. She doesn't describe things. She doesn't tell you where things are. She's standing outside a shop and it says we are the winner of the local shop competition. Yeah, and she doesn't tell you where it is. Yeah, and this is the leaflet that comes through the door. So there she is. She's big on the PR photos. She's really big on making sure she gets some PR publicity shots, with various people, and it's just so that she appears to be doing stuff. She appears like she's doing stuff. But is she actually really doing stuff? No, because she's just dotting the T's and crossing the I's and all that crap, yeah, just to get by, to keep herself appearing to be popular when she's not. Yeah, she's not popular. I've even had it given to me by people in the Conservative branch in Marlborough, no names mentioned, Chatham House rules. I've had it given to me point blank. She is not liked by the Conservatives because she does not engage. She is on her own path. Yeah, she's not engaging with her office, which is based in Marlborough. Yeah, and that's the central office. It covers Devizes, which is where she receives her mail from. So she's got a Devizes office. Yeah, Claire Perry, Devizes constituency. Yeah, she gets her mail from there because I went to the office today to hand in to her secretary, and her secretary says, "Oh yes, I only work there 1 or 2 days a week. We're all based up in Marlborough." So she hasn't even got a working office in Devizes, and it's her constituency. It's all dealt with by Marlborough. So everything centralises and comes through the Marlborough office. And the word on the street is not very well liked at Marlborough. But anyway, so, sorry to kind of, people won't be honest with you about this, Claire. They'll tell you, yes, we like you, but that's not what they say behind your back. Such is life when you're a politician, eh? Having to pretend to be something that you aren't in order to get on. Yes, you'll know all about that, eh, Claire? So, I mean, I love this, like immigration and the EU, yeah? They're putting this forward as like, oh, look, if you vote for us, Conservatives, we'll sort this immigration stuff out in the EU, but you've got to vote for us because, we're going to pledge to negotiate a new deal with the EU and we'll sort it out by 2017. What? How about tomorrow? How about sorting it out tomorrow before the general election to prove that you really are going to do it? Because, as we know, you'll all tell us that this is what you're interested in, right? And this is just all stuff that's been stolen from UKIP anyway, because until, UKIP actually started going, hang on a minute, yeah, and started getting really popular, immigration wasn't even on the agenda. Nah, we didn't really care about that, yeah? It's like, UKIP have pushed this to the fore, yeah, and started winning votes and knocking these candidates out of their seats. And a lot of Conservatives have actually defected to UKIP because of these issues, because the Conservatives do not even represent Conservatives anymore. Yeah. So the EU, yeah, the EU. Cameron has realised that the EU is such a contentious point that he said that he's going to do a referendum on it in a few years' time. Really? We have to wait a few years to get this referendum? If everyone votes UKIP, we'll get the referendum within a couple of months. So this, I'm sorry, I really, really, really want to rip this up because it's just like having this pushed through my door is offensive to my eyes and my brain because I know I'm being lied to. So Claire Perry is not popular as far as I'm concerned, and you have seen that Claire Perry is not popular, and I am going to be challenging her more. She has said that she is too busy. She is too busy to meet with us. She is the only MP for the area. She's the only MP who has no meetings with hustings prior to the run up to the elections. Yeah, she has no meetings. She is not meeting publicly with anyone. Right now, tonight I went to Bath and there was a meeting where all the local MPs for Bath were there. The only one who wasn't there was a representative for UKIP was brought in because the local MP candidate couldn't be there, so a UKIP representative came in his place. But they had Labour, Lib Dem, Conservatives, UKIP. They were all there answering questions at the Quakers meeting rooms in Bath. I went there to listen to what everyone had to say, and it was full. I couldn't even get in. The place was packed out. There were people standing, and they said, we can't let any more people in. So I was turned away. Now that is Bath, right? Bath is having these every couple of weeks. They're doing them up in Chippenham. They're doing them all over the place. They're doing them, right? Claire Perry has got nothing on her diary, right? She does not want to meet the public, yeah? She does not want to have hustings prior to when she actually has to have them, when it's just before the time of the election, because she doesn't want people asking her awkward questions, and she doesn't want her deficiencies as being a representative for the local area being exposed, because it's considered to be a safe seat. So as long as she doesn't get anything awkward come out about her till the very last minute, then people are just going to ignore it. Yeah, that's what she thinks, I believe. So what I'm going to do is I am going to write a letter tomorrow to the local newspaper, and I'm going to say, will Claire Perry be available for local hustings with organisations, and people should request that Claire Perry and other local candidates come to their hustings, and they should organise them themselves. Don't wait for them to be organised by the parties themselves. If you've got an organisation, whatever it is, if you've got an interest group or some type of activist group, ask these local MPs to attend, yeah, and make it in a big hall. Put it in a big place so a lot of people can attend. Because if it's anything like Bath, if we see what was happening in Bath in Devizes, you're going to get at least a couple of hundred people are going to try to attend because they're going to be turning people away. Okay, so, it seems like nobody is making the effort to do this. And this is obviously giving Claire an easy time. It's not getting the awkward questions asked, and it's not putting across the opinions of what the pulse is of the local community in person. And I think that that's terrible. It should be immediately rectified that there are some events where our local MP is representing herself, not just before the elections, like, with days to go, be with a good month or two to go. So I'm really sorry, if Claire does actually get to watch this. I'm really sorry if this is offensive to you, but I mean, I've actually got more likes than Claire Perry. I've actually got more likes, because if you look at look at me here now. Hang on, let's have a look. If you look at me, my page, I've got 630 friends on my own personal web page, and if I go on to a page that I manage, report a crop circle, right? Have a look at this, right? Have a look how many people you got, right? This is a page that I manage, yeah, and I've taken it over from somebody else, but I mean, he had 20,000 likes, okay, and I've taken it over, and maybe there's been some playing around, but 50,000 likes have come on board since then. So compare 76,434 likes to Claire Perry's 149. Yeah, compare 76,434 to 149. Right? Is Claire on the pulse of what's going on in the local community or not? Okay, and if you want, what people are like, they're prepared to like, they're liking the comments, they're liking these comments. Look, there's comments, people are commenting, there's lots of likes. If you go to my own page, just have a look at my own page. If I put stuff on there, like, about the anti-stun thing, hang on, let's go right back to the top, 2015 recent. Okay, I put this in 3 hours ago. Okay, 3 hours ago, I've got 2 comments straight away. I've got 4 comments on that. 4th of February, yesterday, right, I said that, I like UKIP, and I just donated £5 to them, and I volunteered to help. And I know a lot of people are going to slag me off for that, but, because they're anti-UKIP. But I think that UKIP actually represents a way to kind of show these other parties that they are not in touch with what people want, and the rise of UKIP, whether you like what UKIP are about, or whether UKIP are racist or not racist, or all this sort of stuff that people put out about UKIP, which I don't think is necessarily true, but you do hear people talking about this a lot. I think that UKIP actually makes these other parties, it slaps their face and just goes, look, you're not listening to people. You're not listening to what people want, and this is, unfortunately, this is why they're also saying about possibly, overturning the hunting ban, which I think is bad. But it's because what a lot of people are saying they want. So what they're doing is they're saying, we'll put it back to a vote. We'll put it to a vote, and we'll let people, make their own minds up about it. So that's snuff, by the way. I'm not taking drugs there, and I am taking a drug, but it is tobacco, not anything worse. But look, so I've talked about a British right-wing party backs the ban on religious slaughter. So this is the story which has been breaking recently about the fact that animals are not being stunned when they're slaughtered for religious reasons. Look, I've straight away I've had 8. I've had more than 8 comments. Look, I've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 comments. Yeah. Let's have a look at some of the other stuff. Let's go down a little bit more. I've talked about it again. The ban halal slaughter thing. I've got 8 or 9 people commenting, different people. Okay, it's me a few times, but there's people are liking it. You look, how many people like my comments? 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's a few. Let's scroll down, 1, 2, 3, and 2 others like this, It just seems to me like Claire Perry's Facebook is dead. So anyway, this is getting up to an hour long now, and I'm sure I'm boring people, but I mean, I just want to impress upon people that I think that Claire Perry is not the person we should be having for devices, because she's not taking the bull by the horns. She's not listening to the local farmers, what they want. She's not listening to the local, the local people who don't want fracking. She's not listening on political issues, and she's saying, I can't do anything. She's actually told me this, and she says, I can't vote against anything. And then when I said to her, can I meet with her? Can I meet with her and these three other these people who'd come, can we all meet her together to talk this out a little bit more? And she said, I'm too busy. I am too busy to meet with you. And you've had your time, she told me, in a bit of a patronising way. You've had your 15 minutes, chat, which wasn't 15 minutes of us putting across what we wanted, right? It was 15 minutes of her talking at us, yes, and telling us what we're going to have, yes? So she said after she'd given us 15 minutes of what I could have got from looking at the Conservative Party webpage, in telling me what they're going to give us, yeah? After she'd done that, she says, no, I'm not meeting you. No. I'm not going to make this an even fair thing. I'm not going to meet with you. So it's like, okay, she's not meeting with anyone else. She's not got any hustings, yeah? So what is Claire Perry doing with her time? Well, she's a transport minister, but she still finds time to be a governor of 2 schools. Hang on a minute. I repeat, Claire can't meet with me, and she can't meet with other people who are interested, yeah, in things like anti-fracking. She can't meet with us because she hasn't got the time. But she's decided to make her time up by being a governor of 2 schools. Does that mean maybe that she's just probably trying to influence slightly the schools where her children are going to by being a governor? Does she think that she can dictate, force, coerce, or simply by the presence of might of her being an MP, also being a governor, that maybe she can influence things in that way? I'm not saying she is. I'm just saying it's a possibility. Isn't it? It's a possibility. I just put it forward as a potential for somebody that would maybe do that type of thing. So get your act together, devices. Sort out, finding out about what Claire Perry is up to, yeah? Because she's not representing you. She thinks she is. She likes to say she is, but she only just won, right? And she says on her home website, she says, I won by a 55% majority, okay, which means that most of those people, the 45% left over, were voting UKIP, Labour, Lib Dem. So they're all off in different directions. But Claire says, no, I won. You only just scraped through, Claire. Let's face it, you scraped through because the rest of the people didn't want you there. So my point in this, which I believe is a very important point, is she was up against, in the hustings, I met them, I saw them, right? A grandmother who was representing UKIP, and she wasn't too eloquent, and she was a nice lady, but she just wasn't giving it enough. There wasn't enough debate skill going on. And she was up against a Labour Party candidate who was an Indian guy, can't remember his name, but he couldn't speak. Seemed like he was British-born, British accent, standing as an MP. But the trouble was, he seemed like a nice chap, but he couldn't speak properly. He seemed completely frozen, like a rabbit in the headlights. And for a political candidate to not be able to speak properly, it was like as if the policies that we will put forward are, and it's like, so nobody in their right mind was going to promote him as a sensible candidate because he just couldn't function. I don't think in that role. He needs to loosen up, maybe take some bloody, anti-stress pills or something, from the doctor. But this guy was just not the candidate, It's just no way. So the only person who seemed to be capable of actually speaking and putting forward an argument was Claire Perry. And bear in mind, you got Grandma, who wasn't very good. You got the Labour candidate, who wasn't very good at all. So these were really pretty poor, yeah. And she only just scraped through with 55% against these people, right? And she only just scraped through. Claire, I think you need a reality check to remind you that you're not actually that well liked in this constituency. So stop lording it over us. Thanks for watching.